mothers. And later on, we'll be honoring our fathers here in a few weeks. And I believe that the Lord would have it to be that way because he made sure that his mother, as far as in the flesh was concerned, was taken care of. And I'll share some more about that as we go along. Now, in John 19:26 through verse 27, for those of you that would like to turn there, we see exactly how Jesus felt about his mother. And I read, when Jesus saw his mother there and the disciple whom he loved standing nearby, he said to his mother, "Dear woman, here is your son." And to the disciple, "Here is your mother." From that time on, the disciple took her into his home. So we have the scene where we see Mary is there and she's witnessing the crucifixion. She's at the foot of the cross with John. And we can't imagine how Mary must have felt watching the events as they unfolded in front of her. And it's during this time that Jesus turns to John and he says, "John, take care of my mother." And he says, "Take my place as her son," basically. And I believe that it is John that took care of and was with Mary for the rest of her life and took care of her. You know, when Jesus was on the cross, he had the weight of the world on his shoulder, but he made sure that he took time to take care of his mother. You see, as God, he was dealing with eternal matters. He had the weight of the sin of the world upon his shoulders, but as man, he was showing the importance of taking care of our mothers. You see, there's one thing that we must understand is that we cannot willfully be wrong with our mother and be right from God. It's like total opposites. We can't be wrong with our mother and right with God. It's impossible. We need to be right with our mothers, regardless of age. And today I'm going to share with you 7 ways that you can love your mother. And I am thankful today that I have my mother here with me, and I was able to wish her a happy Mother's Day, and I'm very proud of my mother and father, and I want to wish them in front of all of you a happy anniversary as well. For 50 years, I can honestly say in 50 years, I've only heard a few, what would I call them, intense fellowship moments. They were rare in our house. They were very rare. But there were a few. I'd be lying if I said there weren't. But I'm thankful to have my mom. And at this time, let's just give all the moms a hand that are here. You know, there's mothers here, there's children that have mothers, and we all celebrate this holiday in one way or another. And some of us have mother figures in our lives that perhaps take the place for some reason if we didn't have a mother. But I think we can all relate some way, somehow. And the first way that we can love our mother is verbally. And this one's very simple, isn't it? But for many men, this is not so simple. For many men, the words, "I love you, Mom," coming out of our mouths is very difficult. And I can say it a lot easier from here, "I love you, Mom," than I can say it to her face. I don't know why, but it's just difficult for us to say sometimes, isn't it? Sometimes it's hard to roll off our tongues. But it's one very simple way. Sometimes we think we just don't have to say it because they already know it. We take it for granted that they already know that we love them. So we think we don't have to say it. Now, we know that a woman needs to hear those words, "I love you." Children need to hear it as well. Saying it makes us more of a man than not. Saying "I love you" means more, or makes us more of a man than not saying it does. Our spouses need to hear it too, as well. And as a matter of fact, if you're here with your spouse or your mother or your children, I want each of you to turn and say, "I love you." I want you all to know that I love all of you and pray for you, and that I wish you all a happy day. Even though it's Mother's Day, we all love each other as brothers and sisters in the Lord. And I know I'm stretching you all by making you tell each other that you love each other. The second way that I'm going to talk about that we can love our mother is physically. And when is the last time you walked up to your mom and gave her a big hug and said, Mom, I love you? And you know, as children get older, and I said it, you know, I can remember my mother saying to my little brother, who's 13 years younger than I, oh, give me a hug, and he would run as fast as he could in the other direction. And when they get a little older, they don't want the hugs anymore. But moms give the hugs freely. But when's the last time as an adult child that you walked up to your mom, gave her a big hug physically and said to her verbally, I love you, or a kiss on the cheek, or a neck rub, or a back rub for a long time? When's the last time you just sat on the couch with your mom and had a talk with her? You see, one of the things that I'm famous for in my mother's house is when I go up, I sit on the couch, which quickly becomes a reclining on the couch and quickly becomes snoring. So I am negligent in this area that I haven't sat on the couch and had a long conversation with my mom in a long time, but her and I do talk. We talk on the phone, we talk at the table, but not on the couch. But I would recommend to you that you find the time to talk to your mom. Give her a back rub, give her a neck rub, give her a kiss on the cheek. She deserves it. Now, there's one thing I want you to know is your mom was the first person to ever touch you. And you might say, oh, Pastor Jim, not true. I was born and it was the doctor. No, your mother had you wrapped in her womb and you were born into the doctor's hand. And your mother's first priority was what? To reach out and touch you and grab you and hold you in her arms. That was her first priority. And she probably planted a good wet kiss on you and cuddled you even though you were probably all wrinkled up and just this beautiful little baby. All babies are beautiful, right? I see heads saying no. She probably held her cheek against yours. I remember when my mother used to do a little expertise grooming with her thumb here. Give me that face. Let me fix that for you. We're not going in Ames with you looking like that. I'm dating myself. Ames. It used to be Zayres, too, for those of you that remember Zayres. But there were times when our mothers, they changed our diapers. They potty trained us. They held Kleenex when we went to blow our nose, and we'd go just like that. And they trained us eventually how to blow our nose. Our mothers were constantly touching us and loved us. But eventually, as we get older, they hand us off to someone else. You see, life changes. But our mothers, no matter our age, still deserve a hug. They still deserve a big kiss. That would mean more to a mother than perhaps a big bouquet of flowers, maybe some candy, or taking them out to eat, or maybe even a diamond necklace. Oh, wait a minute, I'm getting a little carried away. I think the diamond necklace they'd take before the hug. No, just kidding. Anyways, so there's physically and verbally, and next I want to talk about loving our mothers patiently. We need to learn to love our mothers patiently. Proverbs 31, verses 26 through 31 says, she speaks with wisdom, and faithful instruction is on her tongue. She watches over the affairs of her household and does not eat the bread of idleness. Her children arise and call her blessed. Her husband also, and he praises her. Many women do noble things, but you surpass them all. Charm is deceptive and beauty is fleeting, but a woman who fears the Lord is to be praised. Give her the reward she has earned, and let her works bring her praise at the city gate. You see, mothers have an incredible job, an incredibly difficult job, and they don't get any pay for it. Can you imagine that? They don't get a dime. There's no job on earth, in my opinion, that compares to the job of a mother. There's no job on earth that compares to the spiritual, the physical, and the emotional commitment that it takes for a mother. You see, don't ever make the mistake of asking a lady whether she works or stays at home. Because I'll tell you right now, it's a mistake, because I would rather go to work 7 days a week than stay home and take care of one to however many children there are at home to take care of. Because let me tell you, it's a lot of hard work. And then you also have the women out there that work part-time and full-time jobs. They come home and they still do the laundry and they still do all the things that a mother's expected to do. So motherhood is definitely the most difficult job. But yet, in spite of it all, we sometimes become a little impatient with our mothers, don't we? And it doesn't perhaps apply to this group so much as it would the teens. Maybe the teens that are here could relate to this. Sometimes, and I'll never forget this. One time, my sister, I wasn't perfect, but I'm talking about my sister right now. She had tons of clothes, but she didn't know she had a closet. And they used to be all over the floor. And she had this one favorite pair of jeans that she would wear 7 days a week as long as it were cleaned. And my mother was very good. The turnaround time for our laundry was usually pretty quick. So if we had clothes that we really liked, we could pretty much get away with wearing them extremely often. Well, I will never forget one morning, my sister was mad at my mother because her jeans weren't clean, which you couldn't tell the difference anyways because they were all in one big pile in her room anyways. So sometimes we take things for granted. Sometimes we look for a shirt and it's not ironed yet and we get aggravated. Sometimes we're looking for our favorite cookie or our favorite meal for dinner that night and it's not ready and it's not what we expected and we get a little agitated. But I'm here to tell you, don't take advantage of your mother's love. We need to love our mothers patiently. Some of the teens out there, you're more patient with your friends' mothers than you are with your own mother. And you know what I'm talking about. You're more patient with your friend's mother than you are with your own mother. And I ask this question today. Would you have any friends if you treated your friends like you did your mother? Would you have any friends if you treated your friends like you did your mother? Mom deserves better. She's not a rug that we wipe off all of our negative thoughts on. Now, when we look in 1 Corinthians chapter 13, verse 3 through 5, it says, and if I give all my possessions, and this is talking about loving our mothers patiently, it says, and if I give all my possessions to feed the poor, and if I surrender my body to be burned, but do not have love, it profits me nothing. Love is patient, love is kind, and it's not jealous. Love does not brag and is not arrogant. It does not act unbecomingly. It does not seek its own. It's not provoked. It does not take into account wrong suffering. For us adults with living mothers, we need to love our mothers patiently. Dwight Dobson from Focus on the Family read a letter. It was a letter from an 80-year-old woman on her birthday, and she wrote it to all of her children, and this is what it says. It says, I suppose my upcoming birthday started my thoughts along these lines. This is a good time to tell you that what I truly want are the things I can never get enough of, yet they are free. I want the intangibles. I would like for you to come and sit with me and for you to be relaxed. We can talk, or we can be silent. I would just like for us to be together. I need your patience when I don't hear that you say, when I don't hear what you say the first time. I know how tiresome it is to always be repeating, but sometimes I must ask you to repeat. I need your patience when I think too much about the past, with my slowness and with my set ways. I want you to be tolerant with what the years have done to me physically. Please be understanding about my personal care habits. I spill things. I lose things. I get unduly excited when I try to figure out my bank statements. I can't remember what time to take my medication, or if I even took it for that matter. I take too many naps. Sometimes sleep helps just to pass the day. Well, there you have it, time, patience, and understanding. These are principles, priceless gifts that I want. Finally, in his letter, the Apostle Paul wrote, I can do all things through Christ which strengthens me. I know I can too. It's a wonderful feeling to know his eye is on the sparrow, and I know he cares for me. I guess being old isn't so bad after all. Love, Mom. So we need to love our moms patiently. And the fourth way that we can love our moms is attentively. Moms are usually very attentive to us. They listen to us. Sometimes we pour our hearts out to them. They have a sympathetic ear. They listen to our problems oftentimes, and they care about our problems. And they understand even when we're adults, and they're always on our side. Recently, there was a documentary that was done about people that had received life sentence and were on death row. And they interviewed the mothers of these people, and all of the mothers would say, no matter what their son had done, they would say, he had a good heart. He is a good boy. He's had a good heart. Our mothers are always there to root us on. They love us regardless of what we've done. It's no wonder we like to talk to our moms. It's no wonder that they love us and they listen to us. See, when we get older, we turn into our mother's rock. When we get older, we should turn into our mother's rock, not her millstone. You see, because it's when the roles reverse at some point in time, and our parents need us. And it's important that we're there, and we need to listen to them. It's payback time. You know, sometimes you might say, oh, my mother, every time I call her, all she does is complain. Well, what do you think you used to do when you were a teenager? You probably complained a lot yourself. You know, or, oh, my mother, all she ever does is talk to herself. Well, I'm 48, and I talk to myself as well. You know, my mom, all she ever does is ask the same question over and over. She can never hear me. You know, we just need to be patient. And when parents are older, sometimes we need to realize that they have fears. Parents have anxieties. There's things in their lives. They're coming towards the end of their lives. And they don't know necessarily what the future holds. Especially once retirement comes, there's uncertainty sometimes in people's lives. I hope we treat them the way that we would want to be treated when we get old. So we treat them attentively and patiently. And the fifth way I think that we can love our mother is to love them gratefully. And I was reading a story about an elementary class that was learning about magnets. For 5 weeks, they were learning all about magnets. So at the end of the 5 weeks, the teacher gave them a test. And one of the questions on the test was 6 letters, starts with M, picks up things, what am I? Over half of the children wrote mother. Because that's what mothers do. They love us. They pick up after us. They put up with us and all of our things that we do. Our mothers need a sincere thank you. If you're here today and you're with your mother, turn to your mother, tell her you love her and you thank her. Mom, I love you and I thank you. Amen. Let's give the mothers a hand again. They deserve it. Okay. You know, as I was sharing with the kids, we shouldn't just love our mothers on Mother's Day. It should be every day of the week. We should love them. We should be sincere in our love towards them, genuine, out of a genuine and a thankful heart. And sometimes we can tell our mother when they least expect it. They expect it today. What about tomorrow? What about next week? What about next month? We can't take anything for granted that we'll even have them with us, can we? So we should share with them gratefully and often. And the sixth way that we can love our mother is generously. There's nothing too good for our mothers, is there? There's really nothing too good for our mothers. We could never repay them for what they've done. I know mothers that wear worn-out clothes and their children wear the best sneakers and the best clothes that they can possibly have. They sacrifice for us. They wear worn-out stuff. I know mothers that clear their schedule to make sure that their child is at the soccer field, to make sure that their child is at the ball field, whatever it is. I know mothers that have given up great work opportunities or other opportunities to make sure that their children have what they need. We need to love our mothers generously because they loved us generously as well. Seventh, we need to love our mothers honorably. We need to love our mothers honorably, and this is binding. This means for life. We are to love our mothers for life. You see, if the husband is the head of the house, the mother is the heart. And we need to be careful not to break our mother's heart. In Exodus 20, chapter 20, verse 12, I read it earlier, I said it earlier to the children. It says, honor your mother and father, and all your days will go well. And that's a New American Standard Version. It says, honor your mother and father, honor your father and mother, and your days may be prolonged in the land which the Lord your God gives you. And Proverbs 10:1 says, a wise son brings joy to his father, but a foolish son gives son grief to his mother. You know, some of us might say, yeah, but my mother wasn't honorable. But the Bible doesn't give a qualification. It doesn't say but, and it doesn't say if. It only asks, is she your mother? But that's one of the 10 commandments, and it's the only of the 10 commandments that has a promise. And the promise is that all your days will go well. And I have a poem that was written, and I don't know the author, and it says, when God created mothers. When the good Lord created mothers, he was into the 6th day of overtime when an angel appeared and said, you're doing a lot of fiddling around on this one. The Lord replied, have you seen the specs on this order? She has to be completely washable but not plastic. She has to have 180 movable parts, all replaceable. She has to run on black coffee and leftovers. She has to have a lap that disappears when she stands up. A kiss that can cure anything from a broken leg to a disappointing love affair, and 6 pairs of hands. The angel shook its head slowly and said, 6 pairs of hands? No way. It's not the hands that are causing me problems, said the Lord. It's the 3 pair of eyes that mothers have to have. 1 pair that sees through closed doors when she asks, what are you kids doing in there, when she already knows. Another in the back of her head that sees what she shouldn't, but what she needs to know. And of course, the one in the front that looks at a child when he goofs up and says, I understand and I love you, without so much as uttering a word. I'm so close to creating something so close to myself. Already I have one who heals herself when she is sick, can feed a family of 6 on 1 pound of Hamburg, and get a 9-year-old to stand under a shower. Not only can she think, she can reason and compromise. Finally, the angel bent over and ran her finger across the cheek of the mother. He said, there's a leak. I told you that you were trying to put too much work into this model. That's not a leak, said the Lord. It's a tear. What's it for? Asked the angel. The Lord replied, it's for joy, sadness, disappointment, pain, loneliness, and pride. You're a genius, shouted the angel. With a somber look on his face, the Lord said, I didn't put it there. How about a hand now for the crowning jewel of God's creation, our mothers? As I was sharing, there's so many ways that we can appreciate and show love to our mothers. And God has certainly created something very special when he created mothers. And we are all very thankful for the mothers that we have. And at this time, as I prepare to close, on your way out, if you were here yesterday and didn't receive a rose, there's a rose for all the mothers and young ladies that we'll be handing out on the way out. If you would all stand as we prepare to close. Heavenly Father, I thank you for this opportunity that we have today to honor our moms. I pray, Lord, that you would just bless them and that they would be blessed by us. And I pray that you would help us to honor them in a way that makes you proud, in a way that you intend us to through your word. I pray for each and every one of us as we prepare to go downstairs for coffee hour and some of us to leave, that you would bless and continue to work in our lives and hearts. We're so thankful today for all the mothers that you've brought and continue to bring. And we pray, Lord, that you would bless them and that this day would be a day that they would remember. We love you, and we ask it in your precious name. Amen. At this time, we're going to sing God Be With You till we meet again.